Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. About to stir some things up, all thanks to a CEO who actually banned office relationships at her company. Her name is Denise Conroy. She once worked at HGTV as Chief Marketing Officer, and she says, never get your sex where you get your checks. Is she right? Check this out. According to a recent Forbes survey, workplace romance has actually increased the fear of breaking up by 17%. And more than 50% said a workplace romance impacted their sense of individuality. 52% of people reported their coworkers treated them a little bit differently. And that's, of course, all thanks to Forbes. So we're asking you, what do you think? Should office romances be banned altogether, meaning just a blanket policy, not going to happen? We'll start off with you, Jackson.
Well, I can't be for the ban because I met Alan, my other half, at work. We worked together. So, but what I think is important is you've got to be as discreet as possible, because A, you don't want other people in your business, and B, if you do end up going your separate ways, you don't want everybody to be a part of the breakup.
Yeah, it's a very good point because of the fact that you have to look out what's beyond that and then how uncomfortable it's going to be afterwards. Matt, I think you dated somebody you worked with one time. I hope I'm not throwing you out there, but how did that work out, my man?
Absolute disaster. When you work in this business, especially, you have weird hours. When we were working together, we were going to work at 3 a.m. So I didn't have a social life, so it was more of a convenience thing. And then it turns into rumors going around, and you can't trust the people you're telling stuff to keep it, to themselves. It just turned into a mess. And when I worked at Disney, the policy there was that if you worked in one part of the park, your other half had to work on the other side completely from the property. So they didn't even allow that.
And I was going to lead into that, saying I could see where it would be all right if you're totally different departments, you don't really have any interaction whatsoever. But it is only going to cause issues because, first off, no one likes seeing PDA sometimes, and you're going to want to do that initially at the beginning. But also, when you think of nepotism, sometimes if it is a authority figure that actually might be dating somebody, there's got to be issues there. So I can understand why they go, all right, blanket policy whatsoever. And then also companies, some say, first thing you have to do is tell HR. And now HR has to be involved.
Well, I think you hit something very important there. If you are in a manager role, you cannot be dating somebody who is in a subservient role. Because if that's the case, then obviously if there's trouble, if there are complaints, there's always going to be favoritism, right?
Yeah.
And so it can't be that way. If you're equal coworkers, it makes sense. But if it's a power difference, then it should be banned altogether.
I would imagine, guys, or at least for me, if I had to describe me, you have a tendency to want to compartmentalize your life.
Sure.
And it seems like you have work is work. I act different at work than I do at home. Maybe not a whole lot, but there is a difference between the two. And there's also things where I can come home because I'm talking to somebody that is unbiased, doesn't know what's going on, and I appreciate that sort of thing. So there's benefits of not doing it, but I can also see at the same time there are some couples that work well together that can make it work.
Because the challenge is you're spending 8 hours a day with someone. And in my case, Alan was the photographer. We were in, the news vehicle spending 8 hours a day. So you get to know someone via conversation and chit chat. So, things are bound to happen. Now, not all the time, but that's the deal.
Flash at dailyflashshow.com is our email. Tell us what you think.